This is Beyblade. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. It is a toy line that came out 25 years ago and has continued to stay relevant throughout the years through the different generations. What a lot of you may not know is that Beyblade has always had a competitive aspect to it. Maybe not so much with your friends in the neighborhood, but there's always been a competitive scene for Beyblade, especially in Japan and the other Asia regions. There have been tournaments in the United States that have been official, but largely they're focused in the Asia regions. Hopefully that's going to change with Beyblade X. Beyblade X is the most recent series and has gone to lengths in order to sort of present itself as a more competitive sort of generation for Beyblade. There's been a lot of emphasis on the competitive aspects, not only with the toy lines, but also in the anime as well. It tends to focus a lot on sort of the competitive nature of the hobby. The series has been out for a year now, and the competitive scene has been going strong in Japan as well as the other Asia regions. And of course, fan tournaments have been going in North America for quite a while. Hopefully, we end up getting official tournaments here as well fairly soon. But for anybody who's been interested in Beyblade, we've all sort of been following the big tournaments that have been happening in Japan and the other Asia regions. And this past week, the Asia Region Championship, the big one, has happened. So this past weekend, there was a 5-hour stream covering the event, and I would say I would link it down below where you guys could see it, but the official page has actually privated the stream. It's no longer viewable, so the only clips that I'm going to be able to show you are of the controversy that we're about to talk about. So with any competitive game, especially at the highest level of competition, the integrity and accuracy of judges is important. Imagine playing a Yu-Gi-Oh game and somebody makes a misplay while being viewed by a judge and they miss it. Or they see it but don't act on it. Now imagine you have a bunch of spectators who are watching and also see it, but don't do anything or make mention of it. Imagine the misplay gets called in favor of the person who actually would have lost the match, and they notice and even they don't say anything. This is the controversy of the 2024 Asia Championship. This is Zayn. He would go on to win the Asia Championship, and you may be wondering why he looks so confused. So Zayn is a blader from Singapore, and he's currently in a match against Por from Bangkok. So I'll preface this by saying that I don't think that this is Zayn's fault. He looks very uncomfortable in this situation, but basically what led up to this was a miscall by a judge. Now the final call for the match is up to the judge. Their word is whatever goes. However, I do think that there should be the opportunity to be able to call out a judge on a potential mistake and have them review footage to see whether or not their call was accurate. Just to give you guys context, here's a clip of what happened. So Zayn is playing on the right side here, and he's got a 3-point lead. To win, he needs 4 points. He's using Wizard Rod, and as you can see, there's bit separation from Wizard Rod before his opponent bursts. However, the judge ends up calling it in favor of Zayn. You can hear the crowd go quiet, and you can see the confusion on Zayn's face. If you watch the video, it's super evident that Wizard Rod burst first, which means that Zayn should have lost that round, which would have kept his opponent in the game at least one more round. Now, whether or not he would have won or not is completely speculation at this point. However, Zayn did end up going to win the entire competition, while his opponent was, at this point, eliminated. The fact that nobody in the crowd, nor the announcers or the players decided to say anything is beyond me. Maybe they didn't want to argue with the judge, maybe they didn't want to cause an issue during this tournament. I'm not really sure, but it seems pretty evident that they're trying to save face. By privating the video, you can no longer view the stream. I'm not sure if they're going to do anything to try to correct this mistake. Maybe they'll invite Por out to attend the next tournament or the next stage of the tournament because of the miscall, but I mean, at this point, what can they do? I think that this is a major oversight. I think that there should be people who are watching the replays. There's no way that the people who are announcing this and spectating it while they're announcing didn't catch that. You can't tell me they have at least 3 that are watching this on the panel and nobody saw the wizard rod burst first. Like, there's just a lack of integrity at the very least in terms of the accuracy of these judges and the ability to call the matches accurately. And it may not seem like a big deal if you're not in the Beyblade sphere, but this is like the equivalent of like a regionals in like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, this is a big deal. This isn't a small little tournament. This is like the equivalent of like a national tournament. Like, you've got players from Singapore, you've got players from Bangkok coming together to get this to participate in this very large tournament that potentially will end up going to a world championships. And you've got another player here, Poor, who unfortunately was eliminated from the tournament when he could have potentially won. Like, it only takes 4 points to win, and that burst would have put him to 2 points, and Zane had 3. So either one of them could have won one more round and potentially won. So it's kind of interesting that this happened. I'm very curious how Takara is going to end up handling the situation, what's going to happen with the live stream. There's this whole deal. It was a really big stream. It's a 5-hour stream that has just been privated off of the internet because of the controversy. So anyway, I'm very interested to know everybody's thoughts. So leave a comment down below what you think should happen, what you think of the whole ordeal to begin with, whether or not you think players should be able to interject on a judge and ask for a second opinion, or to review the footage and see whether or not it's accurate. Like, even the fan tournaments in North America run by the WBO, or the World Beyblade Organization, almost all of the judges film every match, and if there is a question of whether or not who won, they watch back through the video in slow motion with both players to see exactly what happened and make a call from there. I just think it's a major oversight in terms of just the organization and the scale of this tournament. I would have thought that they could do a little bit better. I think that they should at least be able to question the judge and that not be an issue. I've heard reports that basically the judge has final call and you can't question it. But in this case, this would be an instance where that doesn't always work because the judge isn't always accurate. Maybe the angle at which he was viewing it, he didn't see the bit pop out. However, clearly other people did. People in the crowd went silent. Even Zane, the player, looked extremely uncomfortable when they announced that he won the round and he was going to move on. I don't think I've ever seen a player look as uncomfortable as he did. But anyway, that's all I've got, guys. Again, leave a comment letting me know sort of what you think should happen, how Takara should handle this in the future, speculations on what they might potentially do. As always, hit the like for the algorithm, subscribe if you haven't already for future Beyblade content, and I will see you guys in the next one.